Science can actually predict which couples will stay together and which won't, with over 90% accuracy. Dr. John Gottman's work has made tremendous strides in the realm of relationships, doing research on couples in his lab for over 40 years. Everyone wants their relationship to last, but it's not that difficult to get stuck between a rock and a hard place. Science can now pinpoint certain aspects of what makes a relationship work and what silently destroys it. Here, we're digging into some of Gottman's most powerful findings that indicate what builds up stronger relationships and what patterns lead to termination. There are 3 healthy conflict styles that Gottman identified in long-lasting relationships. First, we have conflict avoiders. These are couples who prioritize harmony by minimizing differences and avoiding unnecessary confrontation. They focus on areas of agreement and are comfortable with clear boundaries. Next are the validating couples. These couples value open communication, empathy, and understanding. They work to keep discussions calm and respectful, always validating each other's feelings and perspectives. Volatile couples may sound unhealthy, but they actually thrive on passion and intensity. They have spirited disagreements, but they balance the energy with affection, humor, and deep respect, even in the heat of an argument. Each style looks different in practice, but all can be healthy when mutual respect and emotional connection are maintained. There are 2 unhealthy conflict styles. Hostile couples are characterized by criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, otherwise known as the 4 horsemen. Their communication often involves personal attack, blame, and persistent negativity, which can severely harm their relationship. The most damaging style is the hostile detached couple. Their conflicts combine hostility with emotional withdrawal, creating a bitter and escalating negativity that feels like a prolonged standoff. They display the 4 horsemen just like the hostile couples, but they remain disengaged, leaving both partners isolated, unfulfilled, and disconnected. Conflict avoiders are one of 3 healthy conflict patterns. Conflict avoiders aim to minimize differences and steer clear of direct confrontation, focusing instead on maintaining harmony in the relationship. They often center discussions around points of agreement and may prefer to keep certain boundaries. This approach might seem reserved. It can work well when both partners are respected and when important issues are still addressed over time. Validating couples are another style of Gottman's healthy conflict approaches. Validating couples place a strong emphasis on communication and understanding. They listen carefully to each other's perspectives and acknowledge each other's feelings, even when they disagree. Their focus is on keeping discussions calm, respectful, and solution-oriented, which builds trust and strengthens emotional bonds over time. They strive to keep conversations calm, rational, and respectful, making sure both partners feel heard. This consistent validation strengthens trust and fosters a sense of safety in the relationship, even during disagreements. While the volatile style may sound unhealthy, it's actually the 3rd and final most healthy conflict patterns that couples can use. Volatile couples engage in passionate and emotional discussions, bringing energy and intensity to their conversations. While their debates can be spirited, they balance that passion with affection, humor, and openness. Even in heated moments, they maintain mutual respect, allowing their emotional connect to remain strong despite disagreement. Hostile couples are characterized by criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, behaviors that Gottman calls the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Their communication involves personal attacks, blame, and negativity. Over time, this pattern erodes trust and connection and causes serious harm to the relationship. The last conflict pattern that Gottman's identified for us is the hostile detached couple. These couples experience a bitter, escalating negativity during conflict, often resembling trench warfare or mutually frustrating and lonely standoff. They display all 4 horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, but they differ from hostile couples in that they are emotionally disengaged. Hostile couples manage to keep their negativity somewhat in check, even though it leads to an unhappy partnership, but hostile couples cannot keep their negativity in check, and it leads to profound emotional exhaustion, significant emotional distance, and a much higher likelihood of divorce. Hostile couples may even lose conflict as a way to connect, leaving too little emotional engagement. Over time, this creates an aching sense of isolation and unfulfillment, making resolution and intimacy almost impossible to achieve. Solvable problems are situational and typically don't carry deeper meaning. They're not tied to ongoing or underlying conflict, and they don't spill over into other parts of life. These are about a specific situation, something the couple doesn't repeatedly argue about once it's resolved. Perpetual problems stem from fundamental differences in personality, beliefs, values, or core needs. They're based on recurring issues that are never fully resolved. These aren't necessarily harmful. Many marriages that are happy have them. if they're approached with openness and dialogue. But when they're not managed well, it can turn into gridlock. Gridlock problems are long-standing issues that have been poorly handled. These couples can't approach the topic with humor, empathy, or affection. Over time, the issue becomes increasingly polarized. Compromise feels impossible. This leads to a cycle of resentment, defensiveness, and contempt, making the conflict even harder to resolve. When gridlock takes hold, it doesn't just stall the relationship, but it can open the door to deeper wounds. Over time, the emotional distance and unresolved tension can pave the way for betrayal, where trust begins to erode and partners turn away from each other instead of toward each other for connection. Betrayal erodes love by breaking trust, not just through infidelity, but lies, disrespect, or prioritizing yourself over the relationship. They all qualify. It can show up in subtle ways, like turning away from your partner's bids for connection. Over time, these moments create emotional distance, slowly weakening the foundation of the relationship. Comparing healthy relationships to unhealthy ones, Gottman identified 4 toxic behaviors that predict divorce. He calls them the 4 horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Criticism includes attacking your partner's character instead of the problem itself. A common phrase you hear in criticism is, "You never think about anyone but yourself." Contempt is the deadliest one. With eye roll, sarcasm, and mockery, it shows disgust. It's the strongest predictor of divorce. Defensiveness is denying responsibility and flipping the blame. Stonewalling is when one partner emotionally shuts down and withdrawals. Gottman emphasizes antidotes to these, like replacing the mildest criticisms with gentle startups and reversing the ingrained contempt by building a culture of appreciation. These antidotes are simply acts of kindness, displaying curiosity, and knowing when it's time to take a break. To find these antidotes, Gottman looked to what the healthy couples were doing right, and they found some powerful counter strategies. Instead of criticism, they used gentle startups. Against contempt, they built a strong culture of appreciation. Facing defensiveness, their key was to take responsibility. For stonewalling, they practiced physiological self-soothing and took time out to calm themselves. Studying healthy relationships, Gottman realized that marriages that last aren't avoiding conflict altogether. Gottman found that couples who thrive turn toward each other when their partner makes a bid for connection or attention, even something small like, "Look at this meme." Successful couples respond positively. Couples who thrive maintain a 5-to-1 positivity ratio. For every negative interaction, they have 5 positive interactions. Think laughter, compliments, shared jokes. Healthy couples use repair attempts. Repairs are great ways to de-escalate tension. A repair might be a subtle funny face or a gentle touch saying, "We're on the same team." They build up a shared meaning system with rituals, goals, and dreams that both of them value. They don't see themselves as just lovers. They recognize themselves as partners in life. Believe it or not, the difference between turning toward and turning away is a crucial aspect of a relationship. This is your partner attempting to bid for connection. The thing in itself may not be important, but acknowledging it is. Bids for connection are everyday attempts, whether large or small, verbal or nonverbal, that partners make to get attention, affection, or emotional support. It could be a simple question, a shared observation, a touch, or even a sigh. The response to these bids is key. When partners turn toward, they acknowledge and positively engage with the bid. This means showing interest, offering empathy, and responding to the attempt to connect. This actively builds a bridge. Turning away means ignoring or missing a bid, whether intentional or unintentional. This can happen when distracted, preoccupied, or not tuned into the partner's attempts to connect. Over time, consistently turning away can lead to feelings of loneliness and distance in a relationship. Research from the Gottman Institute highlights the impact of these small moments. Couples who consistently turn toward each other's bids foster a stronger emotional connection and a greater relationship satisfaction. It's about building trust and intimacy, one small interaction at a time. By being mindful of bids for connection and actively choosing to turn toward partners, deeper, more resilient, and healthier relationships can be cultivated. Gottman found that a relationship has an emotional bank account, similar to a financial one. Positive interactions act as deposits, building reserves of goodwill and connection. Negative interactions are withdrawals. Research by Gottman highlights a magic ratio for stable relationships. It's a 5-to-1 positivity ratio. For every 1 negative interaction or feeling, healthy couples have at least 5 positive interactions. This means 5 deposits for every withdrawal. This high positivity ratio acts as a buffer. It allows couples to navigate conflicts and challenges without depleting emotional reserves. It also ensures a sense of security and connection. By consistently making those emotional deposits through kindness, appreciation, support, and shared positive experiences, couples build a strong, resilient emotional bank account that helps their love last through the conflict. When a negative interaction or withdrawal occurs, a repair attempt is needed. These are any actions or statements used to de-escalate the tension and prevent an argument from getting out of hand. It could be something as simple as a touch on the arm, a small joke, an apology, or using a simple I statement to express your feelings. A key marker of a healthy relationship is not the absence of conflict, but the ability to successfully use and receive these repair attempts during a disagreement. When partners are receptive and turn towards these attempts, it allows them to step back from the fight, take a breath, and get back on track. This action signals respect and a shared commitment to the relationship. By mastering the art of repair, couples can navigate their inevitable conflicts without causing lasting damage. It ensures that the emotional bank account doesn't get overdrawn, and it's a powerful tool for building resilience and trust. Rituals of connection are the small, intentional moments that couples create to reinforce their bond on a regular basis. They can be daily, like having coffee together every morning, or weekly, like a regular date night. Rituals of connection aren't about grand gestures. They're about creating meaningful, predictable routines that nurture the relationship. They serve as a powerful way to turn toward each other's bids for connection, making consistent emotional deposits and keeping the relationship bank account in healthy surplus. By building these rituals, couples establish a rhythm of togetherness that adds stability, predictability, and a shared meaning to their lives, helping to make their love consistent, reliable, and present. All of these insights came from Gottman's famous Love Lab. It's a research center in the University of Washington where couples were observed interacting in simulated apartments while hooked up to biometric monitors. Based on subtle cues like heart rate, tone of voice, and facial expressions, Gottman could predict with 91% accuracy whether a couple would break up within a few years. Some truths that I didn't expect to see from this research is it's not about fighting less, it's about fighting better. You don't have to solve every problem. 69% of the conflict is perpetual. Friendship is the foundation of their romance, and couples grow when they stay curious about each other decades in. One of Gottman's favorite tools is love mapping. Love maps are detailed knowledge of your partner's inner world. It's their hopes, their stressors, their favorite memories. The better your map, the closer you stay. Sound relationship house theory is how Gottman outlines 9 components that build a strong, healthy relationship. It's a house built on a solid foundation. It all starts at the very bottom, building love maps, the detailed knowledge of your partner's inner world we just discussed. From there, you build up the walls, sharing fondness and admiration, turning towards each other, which forms the core of your emotional connection. Moving up, the middle floors are focused on navigating disagreements, with managing conflict and fostering a positive perspective. The top floors are where you build the life you want, through making life dreams come true, creating shared meaning, and fostering a culture of appreciation. All of this is held together by the pillars of trust and commitment, making your relationship a secure, resilient home. Love doesn't just survive, it thrives through small, consistent habits we share every day. Expressing appreciation keeps gratitude alive. Staying curious about your partner's evolving self ensures you grow together instead of apart. Creating shared adventures and rituals strengthens a bond that makes your relationship feel like a home. In Gottman's model, love is not maintained by grand gestures alone, but by the small, daily habits that build trust and commitment over time. Trust grows when partners consistently put each other's needs first. It's built in the everyday moments, when you show, I've got your back, even when it's not convenient. Every choice you make is like a deposit or withdrawal from your partner's emotional bank account, but trust erodes quickly when one person chooses immediate self-interest at the other's expense. Over time, those withdrawals can empty the account, making the relationship fragile and harder to repair. Love is kindness, curiosity, and knowing when to pause so that you can come back even closer.